somewhere around, 11:30 to midnight. And now we're coming into the top step levels, which are really great. But down here at one of these lower levels, let's see what level that
In the
is. Nope.
MES?
Yeah, what's the
Yes,
price?
MES. The price original target structure was 56.13. And so all of a sudden we stalled out at about 56.20. And I thought, all right, people are going to come in and say, okay, this is where I'm going to go long. I'm going to start to cover. And then if they were short, they're going to start to cover. And the longs would say, hey, I'm going to go long, but we know what happens. They come in, we get the liquidity break, and it turns around. So now I suspect we retrace some of this move before another move down. So I do think that it's true that we're going to give back some of this, but shorting right here might not give us the best risk reward. So if you want to take an intraday long, not a bad idea if we can come in and hold this area around 56.26. Could we do it right now with a really tight stop? We could.
Right here.
That's me.
Oh, okay.
That's me. At 56.29, I just took it. And so I'll add to the position at 56.18. If it holds, then great. Otherwise, the target is, we'll see how long it takes to get there, but the target is really this area right here where it came in. We just have to see how much strength is sitting there right now.
You've got an overnight inventory adjustment started here. The opening ranges are
That's my thought. Yeah, that's my thought.
We're up against overnight VWAP right now in the S&Ps as well. You got to pop above that, then I can see that definitely happening. Looking for better trade locations for a short later on.
Exactly. Yeah, that's my thought.
Update on the early trades here. The crude oil, we covered that at 59.31, about 60 ticks for a win on that one. We're still long to micro gold 33.87. We've got a nice 2-3 bar reversal here on the 5-minute chart. However, we're going to see if we can't hold this level 94. I think we can see if we can hold that level and maybe see it continue to move to the upside. But it doesn't help that the equities are getting a bid here for any shorts gold. But gold. Who sells gold, Dakota?
I don't want to talk about it. Man, Jay had a banger trade long last night. It just went straight up.
Yeah, nice. We were talking about that this morning.
Man, don't sell gold. That's
I think that is a very big warning signal. The fact that there's something going on all the time. I watch. Did you watch gold all the
time? About 20 minutes before close, or it just went parabolic out of the blue.
Yes. And it continued. Yeah. There's something going on in the currency markets.
Yeah.
100%.
I don't know what
always something cooking in FX. Cash open ES, we popped a little bit, rejected right off of the overnight VWAP. Yeah, I'm kind of waiting to see. I was interested in maybe buying the ES if it got down to test that 5,600 level where we put in some lows back on the first and the overnight there. Otherwise, I see people talk about no shorts unless we go through that. I kind of agree. Don't want to get caught too short. But Dakota, what are you feeling?
Well, what I feel and what I should be doing are two different things, man. I'm conflicted this morning. I am. From the perspective on this hourly chart, we take a look at this hourly chart, and we moved basically an average true move. Like whenever we do get a decent sell-off in this bullish market, I mean, bullish since the past few weeks. We've already covered that. We've already got an average move to the downside from the selling pressure, right? Whenever we sell off. So I'm not surprised by this move from what we've seen yesterday, from yesterday's highs. I was looking for these 800s, these mid 800s. There's a couple nice levels of support here in this market. You can see this is a very obvious one from May 1st, these mid to upper 700s. And now we're starting to find buyers stepping in again here at these lower 800s. We rejected lots of wicks to the downside. This is an hourly chart on the Nasdaq. And so from the technical standpoint, it would only make sense that we see a leg up, right? Maybe we see a leg up to the 900s. However, for what's going on to this market with FOMC tomorrow, with the whole Ford thing and tariffs, and tariffs starting to, it's always out there, right? Headlines, tariffs. Gold getting such a rally. We're down 1% today. I get that feeling that we could actually just break below this 700, this mid 700 level, and maybe even test lower. So what I feel is one thing, and then what the chart's telling me is a different thing. And usually that's not a good sign. I'm up $600, so I'm not too inclined to be jumping in very fast.
A little cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Great breakdown, Dakota. All
You're
right.
welcome. I can never lose, right? Because then if it goes up, I'm like, yeah, see, I knew it. I read the technicals.
Yeah,
right.
that's
If it goes down, I can say, yeah, I'm hedging myself.
Well, let's see. Kind of light day. Eddie, we got anything on the eco calendar today?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, here, about 25 minutes, small numbers. I think we're waiting for our 12 o'clock 10-year note auction to be the biggie here today. But in about less than half an hour, IBD tip economic optimism, very light number here. 11 o'clock, we got a short-term energy outlook. We've got that 12 o'clock 10-year note auction, API weekly crude stock. But I want to focus coming up here about 15 minutes. U.S. Treasury Secretary, our good friend Besant, will be testifying. See if we can get any comments out of that. And Trump's going to be talking to our friends up north at around 10:30, 10:45. So I'm watching the wire here for any comments that will hit. Back to you, Jack.
Oh wait,
Thank you very
he's talking
much.
to Mark. He's talking to Mark Carney today.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Carney, Art
That ought to be
Carney. No,
fun.
he's speaking to Art Carney, and yeah,
Ed Naughton.
and
Spe-
hey, Norton.
Speaking of
Hey, Ruffy
international trade, Gabe, if you can throw up that thing I just sent you, the balance one, the number out this morning was the trade balance, which, once again, all this front running is really quite something. Sort of take the pain to do it. The trade deficit was $140 billion in the last month. And you can see here, this is the monthly trade deficit going back to 2016. And the last few months, that is front running of tariffs. So they position themselves as best they can, Dakota. You have any thoughts on this?
There's not really much. We have
I mean,
this is going to be an interesting year. Like, that's all I could
It's
say.
going to be a real interesting
look,
year.
tape bomb to the downside.
Yep. Nice call.
But it's going to be an interesting year for sure, Jack.
And we have at least 3 more of them after this. This is only the
The quote I
beginning.
always think about is the futures markets, where a once in a lifetime occurrence happens 3 times a year. So we've already been through at least 1 or 2.
For sure.
Black
Yeah.
swan events is a common thing.
Equities have really just been respecting that overnight VWAP just
Yeah.
all night long, just respecting it.
Well,
Yeah.
we do.
For sure.
I don't know how many people were on Twitter yesterday, but Carl Hungus posted a pretty incredible meme of Coach J as Post Malone. And if that inspired you, please follow us at TopStepTV on Twitter, #FastMarkets, #PowerHour. Submit those memes. battle stations, tick picks, whatever you got. We want to see them. So post it and share it. And do you have it, Gabe, by chance on the box? It's pretty incredible. It might be one of my all-time favorites.
I've seen it. It's pretty good too.
Which one, Dolby?
It's Coach J as Post Malone.
Oh,
Jay
from
Malone.
yesterday.
From
Yeah,
yesterday.
give me two shakes. I got you.
Take your time. Whenever we need a laugh, just pull it up because it's really good work. Man, Coda, you called that one. Hate bomb. We're down about 30, 40 points in the Nasdaq here. Lower lows, lower highs.
Yeah, I think we could break the lows, man. Like I said, technicals are one thing, and and then just like how this market is. I'm looking for ways to short it. Obviously, with hindsight, those 860s, 850s was a beautiful short. Now that we got that 40-point, 50-point tape bomb, I think we just run the lows and sell off. Like, there's a decent chance.
That was a 60 point.
Buyers fell, then they're gonna bail.
Yeah, that was a pretty feeble attempt to close the overnight gap and take out all the overnight inventory.
Yeah, plus in the ES, that number at 5625 where my entry is, and thank goodness for, the MES to work through these sorts of positions, the test position that says, hey, this is going to work or this is not. It's rejected that first implied volatility move, which means that the next leg is the wider volatility band, and that's 55.96 in the ES. I'll check it for the NQ. Let's see what it is, what those levels are from the volatility chains. It also did the same thing. It rejected that same number. Of the implied vol move was 19,835. It popped above it into that 860, 870, that area Dakota talked about. The next move down would be 19,700 if it loses the edge. And we also saw that anybody thinking about covering, in terms of the covering their short, not a ton of buyers came in. So this is going to give me, I don't want it to break this low. So if it breaks the low, I've got about $160 of risk overall. And if it breaks that area at 5605 and then it recovers it, I am going to get back in long for the bounce base.
Almost new lows
so
here.
We'll see.
On the left, my charts are going down. On the right, charts are going up. That's crude oil and gold.
I can't find a way to get into a short. I'm trying to get into short Nasdaq, and it's just I'm waiting for
get in to
the
go for a
bounce.
break of 5600.
It's just making lower lows. So you think a long sits there, Jack?
Possibly. I'd have to see how it gets there. I mean, if it breaks there, yeah. I mean, if you're feeling the downtrend, then if it can't hold on to 5600, that's an attractive spot.
Watch.
Jack, do you have any confluence with the SPX levels? I know you've been looking at sort of those option chains for potential targets.
Yeah, I mean, we're through right now, so we're at the difference between is about 20 points. So we're actually through just in the last 10 points, the 5600 level in the SPX. It'll take me a few minutes to get that stuff up there, but in the meantime, let me just take a quick check-in on the bonds. As you can see, we're still in this sort of mini rally off of this support level here at 4.15 in the 10-year. The only piercing of it was rather dramatic, and that was right after Liberation Day. A little bit above the happy spot of 4.3. People were mentioning the 2-year. I wanted to show this could have been the trade of the year. If you look at the these are day candles. This is the 2s 10s chart. And you can see when we uninverted, we tested down here almost exactly to break even on the 2s 10s yield spread, and it's been up and away since then. Longer term rates rising much quicker than the shorter.
What does that mean, Jack, for those who don't understand 2s and 10s?
twos and tens, it means the
Yeah.
yield. If you look out on the yield curve, right, as you go further along the maturity timeline, you get more return for your investment or more yield per year, right? For a while, they were kind of stuck because the 10-year was below 1% at one point. It means people are acquiring more return for their longer term investment in U.S. Treasuries the further you go out. So could be uncertainty, could be inflation expectations. We're through the lows in the ES.
Oh, ES and Q, both very strong and long red candles to the downside. Dakota, I saw you rub your face. Was that a FOMO?
Yeah, I'm pissed,
FOMO face
man.
rub?
This sucks. This is just one where I'm sitting here trying to be patient, waiting. It's like, okay, I want to short this, want to short this, want to short this. Keeps going down, keeps going down, keeps going down. I'm like, there's no the way I trade. There's no opportunity to get in short. I mean, there's an argument that I could have maybe got in short, but that tape bomb came too fast. If we were slowly breaking down through those 30s, yes, but we just tape bombed. I was looking for maybe some type of bounce up. We did get to like 802 and had a bounce up to those 20s and then sold off. But I mean, here we are, May 1st lows. I think we could break that, and I think we could start testing 600s. And I think the question today for me is just, how do I get into a short?
How do you get
Press
into a short?
sell.
Yeah,
Just
sell.
press this market sell.
Just as a reminder for people to see where we're at in the ES right now, we're testing the overnight session from when we had that massive last 10 minutes sell-off on the first. And then this spike up here was the China letter that, hey, maybe we're talking, very cryptic. And then this is the spike after non-farm. And then we're back here.
So,
What a couple days.
It's been pretty wild. The price action's been fairly herky-jerky, which makes it pretty tough to trade. Yesterday was kind of slow and chill. Now today is a little bit crazy, very bearish. So it's almost like the switch in tempo in the market state is tricky to
Got
hop
a
onto.
short
would
move
like to
failed
think-
upside auction in gold. I'm hoping that the equities are going to be able to take that out because we are still sitting long 2 micros.
With Anne-Marie out for a month, I was really hoping there's someone out there who just put on a big leverage trade on April 1st and then came back a month later out of the wilderness and was like, well, nothing happened.
And there's so much of that, truly. There is so much of that. A lot of people are, people that trade stocks in and out, they complain because, oh my gosh, it just moved up so fast. And then when I got long, it just reversed. And then when I got short, it reversed. And that's really, I suspect that's what the entire year is going to look like. It's especially, I would say, until the end of the third quarter, easily. We've got nothing but a room full of fog in terms of what the broad markets are going to do.
Jack, weren't you the one who said that if you've been holding the RTY for the last like 10 something years, your like total gain is like unchanged or something, or possibly negative? It was like 2 weeks ago you mentioned it.
Yeah, now it's bounced. Let me take a look-see real quick. The RTY has really been the whipping boy of, here, I'll share this. Here's our pathetic RTY. Yeah, where we are now, you'd be flat since 2020. At the lows here, that turned out to be the lows. I think that right about here was when I made that proclamation. At the lows on the 7th, the RTY was flat going back to August of 2018.
Wow.
Meanwhile, over the same period,
I'm short Nasdaq. I'm short one.
I was just about to ask you that, Dolby. Dakota. I was just going to say, Dakota, are you short the Nas? Because it did bounce right there into that area. Yep.
Yeah, 777s, 19 777, 3/4.
Okay. Lucky number.
I do like
777.
Meanwhile,
Just a
Dolby,
one-
over that same period from August 2018, the S&P 500 has more than doubled.
Wow. Poor RTY. No wonder it gets no love. Just no love whatsoever for the RTY.
Well, you
Love
know,
it.
Jack,
I
you
watch it.
broke down really well why the RTY behaves that way several months
Yeah,
back.
it's private equity, rising interest rates, and their best companies leave it. It's a terrible, terrible place.
So,
Let's watch
Back
Crude.
alley
Crude,
runners.
Short.
knocking on the door here, topping out.
yeah, doing nice little 5-minute range in crude.
Thing
59.34
is, though,
and
it's
bidding.
44% long. Sort of confusing. 100% of those 44% are in the money.
Oh, nice. I know
Average
Dakota
price
shared a stat.
58.96.
Yeah, last night was pretty
96.
insane. Coach Jay and I, we
Yeah,
had
That's
85% long crude, and 100% of them were the money that were long.
and that's a 3-day implied volatility move in crude
Oh, wow.
That's
from the
moving.
option change. 3 days.
Order filled.
Implied vol puts price action up at $60.25. So again, that feels like a newsy kind of candle, or shorts just saying I got to get out of here. And I don't know if you guys saw that Peter Brandt note
familiar.
on X
Dakota
that
did.
said
I didn't.
that said, hey, he was short oil.
Order
and he
filled.
felt like oil was going to move potentially down into the low 50s and mid 40s even. And I think a lot of commodity technical advisors were sitting short like that. And this could be a little bit of a puke move on the way up, because if oil rises, we're going to have that space of, hey, do we actually have enough demand if we're going to be slipping into a bit of a downturn in the overall
Right.
markets? Because clear as mud
Okay,
is clear as mud.
There's not a lot of certainty anywhere in these markets other than gold bidding. It seems to be one of the few constants so far.
It's crazy.
Dakota, you've
Dakota,
added
what's
to
your
your trade.
target? Yeah.
Yes.
What's
Yep.
your
I'm short
target?
3 now. Short 3.
Oh.
See if we could go break through this. If we break through this, I could see us getting down to 700 evens. I mean, looking at this 5-minute chart, like we are at the lows of May 1st. If we break through those May 1st lows, which is basically 750s, next level I see is 680s. Let's get through this. Let's sell off. Let's
I see
go.
582s.
So
Dakota,
close.
582s.
Tariffs.
I'd like to say hello to Mo. Mo in the chat saying Coach Dakota buyers shouldn't hold their pullbacks.
There we
They
go.
Morning,
Nope.
Mo.
Do it.
Let's do it. All right. We're going to watch this trade here on Dakota. Short
Just a heads up
3,
here, Basent, top of the hour here. Watching the wire.
19,771.
Gold just got wiggly.
Wiggly?
Wiggly wiggly.
Wiggly, wiggly.
All right, let's go, Dakota.
Yeah, we need to hold.
Dakota,
break
what's your target again?
700s, lower 700s.
Okay.
I want to see momentum though. Don't like how
Mhm.
we've tried twice without much momentum through those 740s. Just a casual
Sure.
20-point bounce right there.
Yeah, right. Well, it's Nasdaq. It's going to bounce 20 points, if not more, if it wants to. Like your initial short, 777 was awesome. Do you have any advice, Dakota, for people who are trying to learn to size up in winning trades? Because you had a excellent entry at 777, then you started adding, and it starts pulling your average down.
It's the same
Pretty
process, man.
advanced.
Same process. Look at these buyers stepping in. Well,
Jerks, every one of them.
every one of them.
I'm going to confess, my palms are sweating sitting on the opposite side of the trade of Dakota. I'm not kidding you. I'm wiping them against my hands. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm sitting on the other side of the trade of Dakota.
Does that happen a lot?
So-
It happens to me a lot. Sweaty palms.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's why I always have that fan blowing. I turned it off because Dolby made fun of me the last time. He's like, what is that Beyonce fan going on right over there in the corner? So I turned it off. And now I wish it was on so I could try my hands on it.
Oh, that's right, because your hair was like blowing in the wind, and I was like, Anne-Marie, you're inside. What is going? It's like a glamour
Doing
fan.
commercials here.
Yeah, right. What are you shooting? Shooting a hair commercial?
He's
Anne Marie, just
Byers over
remember.
here ripping me a new one.
Yeah.
What's
Anne Marie,
We-
just remember. Don't sweat the petty things and don't pet the sweaty things.
Right.
I've
Eddie,
never
don't go
heard
anywhere
that
because
one.
we do have tip of the week.
Tip of the way. I'm ready here. We're ready to
We're
go.
ready. We are all ready.
All right. Let's do this thing that we call tip of the week every week. We come up with a new one, and this one is practice emotional control. My God, man. Now you know what? It's not just staying calm. It's about making decisions with clarity, consistency, no matter what this lovely market throws our way. Here's some reasons why we should. All right. How about this one? It helps you stick to your trading plan. Discipline requires calm focus. All right. How about building long-term consistency? Now, emotional control supports sustainable habits. And overtrading, do we do that? Any of us do that? No, of course we do. Limit overtrading. Greed, that bad word, can cause too many trades, and control reins it in. And how about boosting confidence? Staying cool like a jewel builds trust in yourself over time. And that's what I've got here. Remember, emotions can hijack your account. Thank you, Dolby Time.
Eddie, thank you. Speaking of emotional control, Anne-Marie, do you have any thoughts and opinions on traders taking vacations? I know it can be pretty hard for traders to take them.
Absolutely. It's entirely necessary. So there's a saying when you work with people trying to break bad habits is willpower is not a muscle that gets stronger the more you test it. It actually gets weaker. So the best thing to do as an alcoholic is stay out of the bar. And the best thing to do as a smoker who wants to quit is stay out of the cigar bar, right? And so one of the easiest things to do really, folks, is make sure when you set your trade up that you are clearly understanding the time frames that you're working with and literally sit on your hands. It's so hard to practice emotional control. Also, if you're staring down your balance, right?
Mhm.
If you're somebody like me who hasn't been on Top Step TV in like a month or whatever, and I go, oh my gosh, my first trade, it's upside down, and I'm trading in the opposite direction of Dakota, I am sweating. I just confessed I'm sweating. But that's my premise. Nothing's changed. It hasn't broken those lows. And so I'm going to sit on my hands. And it just takes time to sit on your hands. But if we trade over and over and over and over again, what we're doing is forcing that willpower muscle to get weak. It's like that emotional capital bank account that we just draw down on every single hour of the day. So
And
I
Marie-
say vacations are fabulous.
They are.
Mhm.
Anne Marie, were you talking to me at the very beginning
Order
of the
fulfilled.
whole alcohol and tobacco thing?
No, I actually was talking about myself simply because I am an obsessive compulsive person. And true, I am totally OCD. And I knew that if I didn't stop drinking, I was going to kill myself because I was so allergic to it. And it meant that I have to give up. Oh, yeah, terribly allergic, drank anyway. And I had to
Really?
give up all my
Medication.
friends. I had to give up all my friends. I had to give all my drinking friends. I absolutely had to change my environment. And you just have to get out of those places that don't tax your willpower. It's like
Right.
saying, hey, listen, if you are, and that happens to, all right, well, I mean, okay, so we're PG-13 here. That happens the same with, if you're a man or a woman and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm just going to stare at these guys and gals all day long. And then, you end up getting yourself into trouble one way or another. If you just got to stay out of the pool.
Anne Marie, I want to get out of the pool there and hop into the pool with Besant. He is speaking right now. We do have the ability to pipe it in. We're going to pipe in Besant. He's chirping. We got gold. Trying to make new highs again here. And crude oil.
Well, Besant is testifying, I believe, before Congress. So we'll
testifying.
see. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what goes on with it.
Okay.
Besides grandstanding, you mean?
Yes, I mean, it's going to be a lot of grandstanding by every single person on the committee. If it's market moving, we'll keep it up. If not, we'll do something else. We'll see what Powell's doing. He's not speaking till tomorrow. We'll definitely pipe that in for the FOMC.
Oh yeah. Well, said something because we're on the bull here. ES and NQ have both reversed to the upside. And gold is on the up and up, and even crude's on the up and up. So everything is kind of turned to the green side. Anne-Marie, are you still in your trade?
I certainly am. I still suspect I'm
still
sweating. I have a lot of respect for Dakota. I have a lot of respect for him, and so yes, I'm still very sweaty.
I'm out. I closed mine out. I closed mine out. You don't have to worry about.
You got a P&L, Dakota?
No, I'm always going to worry.
Oh, minus 1,400.
Minus 1,400. Perfect. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anne-Marie, any plans to add into this?
Potentially. So what I want to talk about is this concept. It's so super simple. Dying to share it with everybody. And it's the simple market structure break. So if you look at a market structure break, let's say I'm using the 5-minute because it's nice and rhythmy. If that's not a word, I know. But here's the storyboard. If you're staring down a chart and you're like, holy cow, which way is this going to go? Simply go whatever time frame you're looking at. Let's go to the top here. You can go, all right, I have a swing low near term right here in this edge to a swing high. So that becomes my range of, okay, as long as we hold that edge on the bottom, we can get potentially back up to the top. And so notice it makes a lower high, it makes a higher low and then a lower high. The second it makes the lower high, we can think to ourselves, okay, the market structure bottom is in play right there. And let me expand these candles just a wee bit more so we can see definitively what's going on here. And so if we're staring that down and we're saying to ourselves, all right, oh gosh, operator error right here. And we can say, all right, we have the higher low, lower high. If I'm long and I break this line right here, I'm probably going to hit the bottom of that market structure, right? And in the meantime, now we have a low, a lower high. That's the line we want to say, all right, if I break below it, something's going to happen. So I let it resolve. I either let it fail the break of the market structure, and so it continues down, or I let it hold the market structure, and then the bigger one takes in play. It comes back, gives me a double tap.
Order filled.
Place to short. The reason that I stayed long in this, no, for goodness sake, Anne Marie.
What'd you do?
I have no manual dexterity. I'm just the worst. Okay,
I'm sweating.
so over here, how do I do? What am I doing here?
On
I want
TopStep
to get
TV.
my chart.
You have
Yeah, I
TopStepX
want to get
open.
my. I
You're going to
I
MES
have
trade.
to. I got to figure out. I know. I'm going to do it on this one because I don't know what's happening on that 5 minute. So I'll go to this 5 minute
Double
here.
rally.
Yeah, which is great for me. Oh, I see what's happening. It's not. I have to reload. Sorry.
Reload it.
Reload.
We
Reload.
got Percent speaking. He's reading off of a sheet of paper right now.
Called
Okay,
prepared
so-
remarks in the biz.
Comments coming off the wire here.
Oh, prepared remarks.
From percent. We've cut $2 billion from the IRS information technology budget without any operational disruption. He also says the IRS spent $450 million on paper processing this year, the same paper that he's reading off of. We aim to cut this below $20 million by the end of Trump's second term through automation, and Trump's economic agenda is already bearing fruit. So far, I got 3 here. I'm still watching the wire. Eyes on the prize. Back to you guys.
Cool. Eddie, are you listening to it in real time in the back?
No. It's. I think that's. No, it's not I. Said the blind man to his deaf son.
Well, markets clearly like whatever he's talking about. Nice bids.
Well,
Got back up to
you
20
know-
control here.
At the end of the day, Dolby, I think this is a purely technical move.
Oh, okay.
And yes, some people could be listening going, oh, X, Y, or Z. But here's what happens when we lose an implied volatility move. Okay, so we're going to go to the 4-hour chart here, nice and big. If we use this notion of market structure, right, where we have a market structure break and we have this 4-hour low, my thought was that we would hold that 5606. I've actually moved my stop down underneath that number because I heard Jack say, hey, you know, that 5600, it might be a good bounce. And it's that low. So I thought, I hate to get wicked out. So here's the wave, really. Here's the market structure wave low. It moves from low to high to a higher low to a higher high. So we really have to a higher low. And that 5 minute formation I showed over there, same thing showing up on the 4-hour in terms of shape. So we have a low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, lower high. First thing that tells me, you know what, you got to watch out for that. And if it breaks here, it's going to come down to the bottom of the original market structure and it's going to bounce.
Order filled.
So
Almost a big Dorito. It's close. The bottom's a little bit flat, but it's pretty close to being a Dorito.
yeah,
On at least
absolutely.
the 30 minute. Anne Marie, we do want to pipe in Percent here, at least for
Yes,
a little bit.
perfect.
We'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see how
let's
much we
do
can
it.
handle of whatever this Percent speaking is. Let's see the honorable.
What Scotty doesn't know.
The process of renegotiating those with the economy. You know, I would say that this is a 3-legged stool: trade, tax, and
got great hair.
deregulation. Trade was first.
Very sharp.
The House, according to
I'm not sure why people
Speaker
don't like
Johnson,
him. I think
expects
he's
to,
just fine.
Move their portion of the bill
He's
over
competent.
to the Senate
Yeah.
on or about
Gotta love that.
A nice
Memorial
suit.
Day, so we're looking forward to that. And then deregulation necessarily takes longer to affect the economy, but I would expect in the third and fourth quarters, we would see substantial benefits from deregulation that by this time last year could be at full force.
We've seen a few numbers discussed in terms of how many countries with whom you have started
I
tariff
could maybe turn it up a hair.
What is the
in
actual
box.
number? What is the status of those negotiations? How many deals do you anticipate by the end of the year, in the first quarter of 2026 or the second quarter? And what are the biggest challenges you see to negotiating tariffs and getting trade deals done?
Again, sir, approximately 97 or 98% of our trade deficit is with 15 countries. 18% of the countries are our major trading partners. And I would be surprised that if we don't have more than 80 or 90% of those wrapped up by the end of the year. And that may be much sooner. That I would think that perhaps as early as this week, we will be announcing trade deals with some of our largest trading partners. They have come to us with very good offers. And you know what I will tell you is that in negotiating with some of them, they may not like the tariff wall that President Trump has put up, but they have them. So if tariffs are so bad, why do they like them? And then more insidious, we can see that from a practical matter and from academic research, are the non-tariff barriers. If you were to look prior to the escalation, I believe Chinese tariffs are only 5%. So clearly there's something else going on if they're accumulating these gigantic surpluses.
The president released his skinny budget for the year, fiscal year 2026 on Friday. Budget calls for approximately $2.5 billion cut to the IRS. As you know, Congress has been pulling back money from the IRS over the last several years, somewhere in the range of about $41.7 billion. Some may ask, what's left to cut from the IRS? What would you talk about your vision for the IRS and why streamlining operations will benefit taxpayers and not hurt them?
Well, Mr. Chairman, the IRS is 30 years behind on an IT modernization project where perhaps up to $50 billion of taxpayer money has been wasted. We are right-sizing that. So the substantial decrease in the IRS budget is largely in IT. We have had a large number of employees take the option for early retirement or for retirement. And again, let's look at the numbers. We are just taking the IRS back to where it was before the IRA bill substantially bloated the personnel and the infrastructure.
Thank you. And now recognize Ranking Member Hoyer for any questions he may have.
Well, market likey so
Mr.
far.
Chairman,
Call out anyone for
let me ask you a
grandstanding.
broader question, Mr. Secretary, at the outset. The president has been talking about recession and the acceptance of a recession in the short term. Do you believe we're in a recession now?
Congressman, I believe in data, and there is nothing in the data that shows that we are in a recession. As a matter of fact, the jobs report has surprised to the upside.
The job report, of course, less than the average for the Biden administration last in 2024. But the GDP went down this first quarter of the Trump administration. If we have a negative growth in the second quarter, which is, I suppose, the traditional definition of a recession, would you agree that we are in that recession of which the president speaks?
Yeah, Congressman, these economic numbers are noisy and subject to substantial revision. So
who's that?
Having looked at a detailed analysis, would
Chopping it
believe
up, Anne-Marie?
that the first quarter GDP would be
What's that,
revised
sir?
upward.
Is that your trade?
And I
Yeah,
would also,
I
with regards to
flattened
your
there
remark
because
about
I
where
think
we were last year.
we have another
last
market
year,
structure event, so I
we
just
were
want to see what
spending
happens.
6.7%. We had a 6.7% fiscal deficit, the largest we've ever had during peacetime or non-recessionary times. So the easy thing would be to keep spending, to keep the economy running on an unsustainable path of government spending.
Let me remark, because you mentioned this, I think in our meeting, we had a spending problem, not a revenue problem. I want to talk about the revenue problem. Let me suggest to you, my view is it's neither a revenue nor a spending problem, it's a pay-for problem. If we would pay for what we buy, whether it's defense or non-defense, we wouldn't increase the deficit. So I think looking at, I'm a big proponent of paying as you go.
It's not a bad short
Unfortunately, we
sitting
haven't
right
pursued
here
that
at
on either side of the aisle,
55.44.
maybe for different objectives. Let me go to IRS. you probably know
Excuse
these
me.
figures, and these are
644.
somewhat old at this point in time. But what they reflect, as you will see, is a substantial decrease in the resources of the IRS, particularly in enforcement. As the blue representing an increase in filings, the orange representing the nominal, and the dotted
Well,
line,
now we're going to get short stuff, flat-footed.
net actual value of the funding for IRS, particularly enforcement. The budget proposes substantial cuts. Have you or anybody done a analysis of the ramifications of those cuts, both in the short term and in the long term, in terms of your ability to collect revenue? Let me paraphrase, not paraphrase, but give a, in your discussions, you said you were not going to sabotage, that we had in my office, sabotage collections. Are you confident, in light of the fact that any IT, and I agree with you, we've wasted a lot of money on IT, that any IT will be accomplished within the next 36 to 48 months, and therefore justify a reduction in personnel?
Congressman, let me work backwards there. So I am confident that we will make substantial progress in the IT and right-size the payment system, the collections system. As I've repeatedly said, my priorities are collections, privacy, and customer service. And again,
Talking about IT
the
and customer
substantial
service.
increase in the enforcement
Talk about the
group,
IRS right now.
there is nothing that shows historically that by bringing in unseasoned the collections agents that results in more collections or high-end collections. It would be like sending in a junior high school student to try to do a college level class. That the becoming a high-end IRS collections agent is something that one grows into. So I believe through smarter IT, through this AI boom, that we can use that to enhance collections. And I would expect that collections would continue to be very robust as they were this year.
Chair now recognizes the gentleman from Arkansas, Mr. Womack, for any questions he has.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you, Mr. Secretary, for your service and for being here today in front of my colleagues. I'm going to ask a question that I'm sure you've never been asked before, but I'll give it a try.
Can't
here.
wait.
When is X?
Over under, we've heard this before.
What was the question?
Congressman, we are, as
He
I
hasn't
said
started
earlier, we
it
still
yet.
take in a large amount of the paper returns.
Wait,
So
you did
every
ask?
Friday,
I didn't hear.
I get a summary, and if you can believe it, as you know, tax day was April 15th. We are still tallying that. So that we will share with Congress when we believe we are approximating that date. So that will be forthcoming. But I will tell you, just as an outfielder running for a fly ball,
Baseball.
we are on the warning track. And when you're on the warning track, it means the wall's not far away.
So it's not today, may not be next week, but it is fast approaching.
And of course, the United States government will never default. That we will raise the debt ceiling, and Treasury will not use any gimmicks. We will make sure that the debt ceiling is raised.
You have already answered a couple of questions about the president's budget, and I'm going to ask maybe a little differently. The president's budget request for fiscal 26 looks very different from President Biden's budget just last year, and I have been a longtime proponent of getting our fiscal house in order. and I applaud the president's attempt to get our fiscal house in order.
Sure,
During my tenure as chairman of the House Budget Committee many years ago, I co-chaired the Joint Select Committee on Budget and Appropriations Process Reform, and many of our recommendations are included in Trump's requests. It's no secret we're heading toward a big and needed change within the federal bureaucracy. That said, his budget request for the Treasury is $11.5 billion, compared to FY25 enacted at 14.2. Now that's a 19% decrease. You've already mentioned that we have savings achieved in contracts regarding IT services and this sort of thing, and we've saved the American public a lot. But you've also said that IT remains one of our biggest challenges, particularly within the IRS. So
That's all
how
over the place.
is it that you're going to operate with a smaller budget that still serves the needs of the American people?
Sir, part of that has been bringing people back to the office. So on March 10th, we reinstituted a work from your office program. And again, I think it's going to be efficiency. We have asked for more money for many of the priorities. The Treasury Foreign Intelligence Network and the Office of Foreign Asset Control, OFAC. So we will be keeping the American people safer. And again, we think through efficiency gains, the federal government historically does not have productivity increases. And as I've continually pointed out, DOGE is the Office of Government Efficiency, not the Office of Government Extinction or Eradication. So I think that it is not a big leap to do much more with less.
Are there $2.5 billion worth of efficiencies?
Well, again, just two of it is in the IT department. And if you were to look, Treasury processes about 1.5 billion payments per year, which is like a mid-sized U.S. regional bank. We have had many of these banks come in and talk to us about their payment programs, and their departments are 1/10 the size and 1/10 the budget. So allowing for the redundancies that we would need as a government agency, then we think that we do need to be bigger and more fulsome, but there are substantial savings to be had.
I want to ask
Remind
one
me that
more
MPO
quick
is $1 to
question,
me.
because I know we're probably not going to have a second round. You have been a
Those are
proponent for better
500.
financial
They're
literacy in this
450.
country.
Oh, they
and
just
your
pulled it.
background is, is evidence of that. Quickly, can we do a better job in this country of educating young people on matters of financial literacy?
Sir, any increase that we do would be a better
Pull
job.
up chat.
We just hosted Financial
This is democracy.
Literacy Month.
Get your vote in.
At
House
the
account
Treasury.
is
I
flat
only
in the
had
gold trade, up
2 months to get ready
983.
for it. I can
go.
tell you that every April we're going to do more and more. But the key to financial independence is financial literacy, making good choices, and not. I don't think it comes from more regulation. I think it comes from more financial education.
Thank you very much.
The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Wisconsin, Mr. Pocan, for 5 minutes.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you, Mr. Secretary, for being with us. My main concern is, I think, what people are looking at the economy. The first 100 days, lowest stock market since Richard Nixon, not usually a measure people are shooting for. On tariffs, the fact that last year we had an effective rate of about 2.5%. I think the Yale Budget Lab, and I believe you went to Yale, has said that effective rate is closer to 28%, the highest since 1901. I know some of that's changed because the tariffs are on again, off again, some on again, some off again. Somewhat chaotic, I believe, as your term is, crazy Ivan style. I compare them to how a monkey throws dung. You're not exactly sure where they're going to land. And that's the concern I have as a small
They're
business
analogies,
owner,
man.
and, Ms. Luzenkamp-Perez as well. I've got small businesses really worried. You made a comment about while cargo volumes have dropped 60%, you see this as a temporary detox. But for a small business that's getting by day to day, that's much bigger. You talked about Main Street We want to finally focus on Main Street, not Wall Street. I think you were at a global investor conference in Beverly Hills yesterday. That's the cocktail party where you mentioned the crazy Ivan theory. And before that, you were at a JP Morgan Chase World
Crazy
Bank
Ivan.
Private Investor Summit. All those things are not Main Street, right? Main Street is an auto body repair, a specialty printer. So my concern is on the tariffs. Who pays tariffs, Mr. Secretary?
Oh my gosh.
It's fun.
No.
that
Answer
is
the questions I asked, please. I only have 5 minutes. Who pays tariffs?
Sorry, well,
Who pays tariffs?
Sorry,
Mr. Secretary, please.
Excuse me.
The question is very simply, who pays
And
tariffs?
the
Mr. Chairman?
grandstanding.
I'd like him to answer
There it
the
is.
question.
There's no, do we have like a
well,
grandstand
let's answer the
counter
question.
that we can run?
Congressman,
We're at one
if
right now.
No.
Congressman, if the exporters, just like tariffs so much, why wouldn't they? If I think what you're trying to get me to say.
Did you
No.
remember the question? I'm not sure you did. Who pays tariffs?
That
Rude.
it's a very complicated question.
Reclaiming my time.
No.
People pay tariffs, right? Reclaiming my time, Mr. Secretary. Reclaiming my time, Mr. Secretary. Reclaiming my time. You clearly aren't going to answer. I'm not going to waste my time having you go,
Now you got
Mr.
some
Secretary,
The
reclaiming,
exporters can
Mr.
pay
Chairman,
tariffs,
I asked reclaiming my
importers can
time.
pay Tariffs.
Mr. Chairman,
Let them talk.
and I asked to reclaim my time. Did I not? No, I said reclaiming my time because he's clearly not answering it. So, yeah. So as a small business owner, and unfortunately, I'd like that time back since you failed to recognize me for 30 seconds. So I just recently, from one of my suppliers, got the tariff surcharge on things. And in addition to the tariff surcharge, guess what else got raised? American-made walnut plaques. That has nothing to do with tariffs, but companies take advantage and do that. So right now, we are getting screwed right and left because of the indiscriminate use of tariffs. That's the reality for Main Street. And you go off to Beverly Hills for private investor conferences and talk about crazy Ivan theories. Answer that. What is the crazy Ivan theory of tariffs that you mentioned at the summit?
Well, first of all, sir, I've had meetings with more than 50 small lenders. So I want to clarify that. I would also say that in game theory, strategic uncertainty, of which you seem to like the name Crazy Ivan.
Well, it's your words,
heading up.
correct? Didn't you use Crazy Ivan at the
Well, you've used it
going
5
up.
times.
Yep.
And
That's the question, Mr. Chairman.
I am saying the strategic uncertainty is part of negotiations. Should we say,
Okay,
here's what we'll accept. Please take this.
Okay, I've got your answer. Thank you. I'm going to reclaim my time again. So for a small business, we don't have that luxury.
Told you I'm gonna
When the
reclaim my
ports are
time.
empty in California,
I'm reclaimed.
and we can't get goods, and people are stocking up for Christmas goods. Crazy Ivan is great for, please don't take this offense, really rich people like you. But for people like me, it's not, right? That's what makes small businesses fail. That's what makes people lose their jobs. That's what makes the stock market tank. So I'll ask one more time, who pays tariffs?
Sir, the history would show that it is a complicated mix of who pays the tariffs over various times.
So that's exactly the problem. If your answer, and you are a very educated person, you have a very impressive bio, cannot answer
No,
the
that
question who
answer's
pays
so-
tariffs because you won't answer that, and you say it's a complicated issue. It's not complicated. Consumers
pay
pay
anymore.
Trump's tariff tax. That's the reality. And I'll yield back, Mr. Chairman, but I do think next time if I ask to yield back, I would appreciate having my time yield back.
Chair now recognizes the gentle lady from Iowa, Ms. Hinson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Mr. Secretary. Thank you so much for taking the time to come and answer our questions. I appreciate what the Trump administration is doing to try to level the playing field for American consumers and restore our economy to where it needs to be. So I really appreciate the work that you were doing to make that happen, Mr. Secretary. And I certainly, as an appropriator, recognize the importance of making sure that every tax dollar is spent appropriately. And I appreciate your opening comments as such. So with that, the GAO estimates the federal government loses between $233 and $521 billion annually to fraud. Those are alarming numbers, hard-earned tax dollars just wasted. President Trump has certainly acknowledged the absurdity of this level of waste, and he signed Executive Order 14249 to protect America's bank account against waste, fraud, and abuse. And I was proud to support this effort by introducing a piece of legislation to codify that, the Protecting American Taxpayers from Wasteful Spending Act. One of the provisions of this EO is directed at your department, the Department of Treasury, to establish pre-certification and pre-award procedures across the
I
federal
think that
government to
short
prevent
got wicked
fraud
out
and
there.
improper payments. So can you define for the committee today what an improper payment
I
is
saw it.
and some
You chimed in.
examples of what you're seeing and why these procedures were not already in place before, Mr. Secretary?
Well, it's a bit mystifying why they weren't in place. And what we are seeing is that there was a very complacent upper level of management in many departments across the entire government. And what I can say at Treasury, that of the 1.5 billion payments we send out every year, they're required to have something called a TAS, a Treasury account symbol. We discovered that more than one third of those payments did not have a TAS number. So as the Appropriations Committee, you should be shocked by that, because how can a payment be tracked back to an appropriation? Only through the TAS number. So there was no accountability. So that is why the 450 organizations that sit above Treasury, where Treasury acts as the paymaster, are unable to pass an audit. So we have cracked down on that. Every payment now requires a TAS number. Very simple. And I will tell you that the mid-level employees who I have had come into Treasury to talk to me about that feel liberated. That they tell me, I've been here 20 years. I've always wanted to do this. I've been here 14 years. And they feel as though they now have agency and are making a difference.
Order filled. Peggy, it's going to go on for
So
a
this
while.
is not only a complacency issue that you've fixed, but it's a morale issue for these employees who are helping to make the department much more efficient for taxpayers.
They're very energized by their participation.
It's certainly unbelievable when you think about that this was not in place, and certainly it's we've got lots of examples from the previous administration of some of those catastrophic failures. Who would you say is benefiting from those improper payments, and how could a government agency really justify standing idly by while those errors were seeping into our system and making our government less efficient?
I can't speak to who was benefiting, but I can just speak to the attitude that has been shaken up, that this is okay, this is not okay, and this is taxpayer money, and we are charged with protecting it.
What other plans are in place to help implement that executive order? You've talked about the Treasury account symbol. Are there other things in that executive order that you are executing on today?
Well, again, the president, as you mentioned, has passed. We are trying to go more paperless with the checks, with the very important checks that the citizens across the U.S. receive, whether it's Social Security, veterans benefits, tax refunds. There is a substantial number of those are stolen. So the president has issued an executive order to try to make that more electronic. That will protect the integrity of those payments as well as cut down on costs.
Have you been able to claw back any improper payments for the taxpayer, reclaim those dollars?
Yes, we've clawed back tens of millions of dollars.
Tens of millions. Well, look forward to continuing to work with you to improve those efficiencies and execute on that executive order. Appreciate the work you're doing at Treasury, Mr. Secretary. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's fade this. We can always bring it back. We only have Anne-Marie for about 20 more minutes.
Yeah, these congressional testimonies are always tough because they're just...
Man, they stress me out. I just...
It goes back and...
looking for my nicotine gum.
And I'm one step ahead of you. You got softballs, you got grandstanding, all for sound clips they can post on social media. That is the way democracy works. All right.
That one guy was so mean. What a rude man.
That always happens.
I know. All right. Well, we're back to the markets.
So I had this short that I took, which is counter trend. So I wanted it to work right away. And so I took it at about 56.42, but then it spiked up and I only gave it a tight stop and now I think it's going to move in my direction, which I still have to wait because it's counter trend now. So we just have to see if it holds here. There is an argument for long because it's moved up over this edge back into our zone, our little red zone up here at 5660-ish. Dakota, what are you thinking?
I was thinking that I could go to my
Wait.
bank and tell them that, I'll never default. I'll just get deeper in debt.
Right.
I know that was as long as
good.
you handle the printing press. If you had a printing press, you could say that.
I'll just keep loaning from Timmy to pay off all my debts. It'll never default.
Yeah, there you go.
So
Well,
what's
actually-
that? What do you got?
If we wanted to do
What
a
were you
little
saying,
news, I got
John?
some stuff
Oh,
about.
sorry.
I
Sorry.
do have some stuff about the printing press. If we want to do a little
Oh.
news right now, if we're ready.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, starting off first, we got a little bit of uncertainty. I keep on going back to this. This is fun. This is the Bloomberg Economic Global Trade Policy Uncertainty Index. April was pretty high. How high was it? Well, those little squiggles there are COVID. So lots of
Whoa.
more uncertain in trade
Okay.
than ever has
Whoa.
been by quite a bit.
Wow.
So
Wow.
as I was saying before, I think the higher we go in the ES, the more we'll eventually need some resolution as opposed to we're talking here. Next, let's see if anyone out here is guilty of this. According to Apollo's Slack, the median retail investor spends approximately 6 minutes on research per trade on traded tickers, mostly just before the trade. Do you feel
Yeah.
attacked in the chat?
Well, that's so I don't forget it. That's why. If I do the research a month ago, then I'll forget it. So 6 minutes before, it's all fresh.
Maybe they're just
Yeah, that's
very,
bad.
very efficient. We were talking about the money printer. This next one here, this is the overlay of M2 money supply versus the Nasdaq going back to 2007. When we say don't fade the Fed, this is what we mean. Take a look at that. So the M2 money supply has grown from roughly $8 trillion to $21 trillion there, and you can kind of see how it tracks pretty well with asset prices, more money in the economy, the way things work. It eventually ends up by people with higher propensity to save and thus ends up in stock indices. So that's why everything that Jerome Daddy Powell does is so important. Tattoo this chart to yourself. This is an important one. For instance, you can go see like that COVID low came with that Fed intervention. It was hard at the time, but like long, screaming long. This is the first kind of major correction or a technical bear market that got solved in a long time without massive Fed intervention. And then one last thing about smartness and trading. It doesn't matter how smart you are. I just learned about this, but Isaac Newton was apparently one of the worst traders ever. Isaac Newton, co-inventor, Leibniz would disagree of calculus, one of the smartest people ever born. This is exactly what he did with the South Sea stock. He exited at a profit. His friends got rich. He FOMO'd in, and he sold as a bag holder. So if you think that you are too smart to lose, you certainly are not. So fade Isaac Newton. Good point. That's what I got for the news right now.
That was good stuff, Jack. Thank you. That was really good.
Everyone could get emotional.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Even Isaac.
Oh,
Newton.
and somebody mentioned what was sent to me last week. We've teased it. We have a video that we're editing right now of me opening it. Thanks, you guys, again. I'll show it at some point this week once we have the video.
Wow,
was there
this looks
trend
like
of
gravity.
Anne Marie's.
That's
long
how
again.
he discovered gravity.
Yeah. He was
So
sitting
Isaac
under
Newton.
Someone
What'd you
points
buy,
out, yeah,
Anne-Marie?
he was
Pardon me, sir?
What'd you buy?
I bought the ES. I bought it at 48.
So we're long. Okay, you switch sides.
2 micros?
Yes, yes, sir. Because it held that 5642 line And that was sort of a line in the sand that said, hey, we
Order
could
filled.
come back up into, the zone. Here we've got, this is a top step level, but I can't
Are you trying to find
see
it?
what it is. Yeah, it's this one right here.
The purple one?
At 56.47 is the IB high. Could become a support level there.
Yeah.
Yesterday's
I should
low
have
was
gotten in at that 42.
55. I thought you got in at 42s. Did you miss it?
Oh no, I did miss it at 42. I was in the what do I do? And I was, that's that area. A lot of times this gets traders into trouble, right? We see a level and we go, okay, that was old resistance, so I'm going to take a short there. But then we forget that if the short doesn't hold, it could actually turn into a long if it breaks, if support holds and it doesn't become resistance, then we've got the reversal of the trade. So any line in the sand at any particular time could be either support or resistance. And so this is a little bit of an iffy patch for me. I don't love that I'm here, but I suspect because I've seen the trades play out so much coming back into these upper ranges, I'm just inclined to give it a go. So there we have it. And the target, I would suspect, would be right around 56.54 for the first edge. And then if we get, lucky, it'll get into that 56.64.
Nice.
So we'll see.
Anne Marie, staying agile.
Man.
Did you trade yesterday? Or is this the first time?
I did.
Oh, you did? All right.
I've traded literally since I got back last week, and I was in zombie
Order
mode.
filled. Order filled.
I traded in zombie mode, but really small size, and so now I'm stepping back into the formations. The little paper cuts, they're sometimes you got to find a rhythm, right? You got to find a rhythm, and so I do want to take this side note to say, on behalf of Robert, who I apparently took his spot today. So I'm very, very happy to get to spend time with you guys. But he did want to say, hey, listen, he wanted to say hi to his technical titans, tell him that he appreciated all their support, and he gave a ton of it. And
Nice.
I wanted to give him a shout out because he
Order
was
filled.
super open for me being completely invasive into his process and what he was doing. As the roving reporter, I was always digging in his business. And he said, wow, that was terrible. I should not have said that. But you know what I mean. I was just all into his work and asking him all the time what he was into. And I know that was terrible. I shouldn't have said that. But I'm getting back into my groove, folks. You got to forgive me. And yeah, that's so I just wanted to give him a hat tip and give the group a hat tip because they worked really, really hard. And I really got to see the inside of how everything was going in there.
Yeah, shout out
Coach
to the coaching
Robert
crew.
Coach Robert's definitely one of the coaches that is fully committed when it comes to the VIP team.
Yeah.
He's just like in there every day, game planning, the amount of work he's putting in and effort he's putting into the team, the amount of work and effort he's putting outside to prepare for his team. Like that level of effort that comes from Coach Robert is definitely unmatched. And I've watching it. I tell you what, I feel a little bit jealous. I'm like, man, okay. It kind of makes you feel as a coach. I'm like, question yourself, am I putting enough effort in to be the coach?
Right.
It's like when you sit in the front of the class with the rest of the students who're just taking all these notes, and you're like, man, I need to do better at putting in the effort. So yeah, big shout out to Robert for sure.
Definitely props to Robert. If you were on Coach Robert's team, put it in chat. Give him a shout out. He is one of the best. One of the best at coaching. Markets have pulled back a little bit here.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Order
Alternate
filled.
ranges setting up in the Nasdaq and the ES. Crude oil has
I'm actually
pulled
looking
back a
for a
little
short
bit.
gold,
Yeah, I
Dobie.
think.
Yeah,
You're
gold
looking for
is
short
pulled
gold.
back as well.
I
Looking for a short
know, I
gold?
know. You don't short gold. You're supposed to just buy it.
I know. So you were starting with.
Equities are holding up really well, and
Yeah.
gold's up 2% today. We got a nice, beautiful 3-bar reversal on the hourly chart. I'd be looking for gold
Yep.
to maybe come back down and test these 3360s, 3360s. So looking for a short opportunity. I don't think I'm going to short, or I'm going to be trading gold in my live account right now. I figured it's incorrect for me to just jump into gold with both feet in my live. I'm going to test it. You can see I have my combine pulled up. So I'm going to see if I could get into a trade in my combine and see how it is.
Yeah, the place to
Yeah,
short gold
definitely.
was when I couldn't hold the IB high.
Mm.
Oh, you did, Hogue. You got a short in there?
No, that was the place. That was the place to short it.
Oh,
Well,
got it.
we were in an opening range trade, which is still, by the way, valid, but we moved the stop up and got stopped out on the stop.
I mean, you guys traded great this morning. It was really solid. Really,
Yeah.
really solid.
And
Yeah, I
Marie
mean, it's-
traded.
Oh, good.
Do we have any stats on what happens most of the time to trades when we move those stops up?
Yes.
Well, for me, most of the time I get stopped out of good trades.
Yep.
What
do you call that, Hogue? Lennying the trade?
I agree.
Lennying.
I
You
agree.
Lenny the trade.
That happens to me too, because I spend so much time thinking about that entry. When I move my stop up, I do generally end up giving back future moves that hold out. It would be I think I'm going to track those stats quite a bit.
Yeah.
See if we
Tom
can.
Hugert is right. We do everything to avoid pain.
Yeah. So true. So true.
Well, Henry, you got a trade working. What's your? Is it one or two that you're in right now?
I have two in right now.
Got
I'm
two.
looking
Okay.
for it to hold. Yeah, I'm looking for it to hold this 56.42 area. If anybody was watching and they took it at that 56.42 in terms of the trade specifically, the stop really it can be fairly tight here because we do need to hold this ledge or it's going to fade.
It's really slowed
What
down.
is the delta? I know.
Really slowed down.
I know.
What is the delta,
What's
Hogue?
the delta?
S&P Delta positive 3,500, NASDAQ Delta positive 230. Congruent overall with direction.
Yeah.
Congruent with direction. Nice. Anne Marie, we do appreciate your time, energy, effort, smile, and laugh. We do have Coach Hoop coming in at 10 o'clock. How did you feel like you did your first time back on Top Step TV?
Well, except for the fact that I said some sentences I probably shouldn't have, simply because,
Well,
well,
we love having you on.
Yeah. I think it was nice. I am always excited to get to spend time with you guys together. You're my trading family, and so that always feels good. And I always feel honored to get to share the screens with Dakota. And it's just one moment in time, one trade at a time, one day at a time. You just got to pace it through and just give yourself a little bit of grace when you're not doing well, and be merciful to your account by keeping your risk tight. So it feels great to be back. I'm excited about the next VIP session because I begged Danielle to be coach, and so I get to be one this time, and it's gonna be fabulous.
That is
Okay,
exciting.
there we go.
Fabulous.
Anne Marie
Love
is
it.
going to be
There we go.
coaching. Anne Marie, if you ever down on yourself, all you got to do is just look at chat right now. Lots of love for you in chats.
And I love my
Just
chat.
amazing. Everyone is so happy to have you back, including everyone on TopStep TV. Please keep us posted on your trade as well.
Order filled.
Love to know how that ends up panning out. It's like touching a bit again in the ES and Nasdaq. We do have Coach Hoop. Speaking of coaches, we got Coach Hoop coming in, doing a little line change. Melissa Jordan, I want her for my coach. Well, make sure you sign up for the forums. I believe there is maybe
Great trading, Anne Marie. I think that's a beautiful example of following your own process, not letting anybody else get into your head, not letting anybody else's process
Staying in my head. You got in a
Yes.
little bit, but I didn't like to stay in there too long.
Yeah, I am short gold from 93.8 now.
93.8, okay.
In a combine. Yep. CYA's at 3409. But great work, Anne Marie.
That's awesome.
Very much. Thanks very much.
All right.
All right, folks. I'll give the floor to an amazing guy. Love Hoop. He's
Oh,
such a
Hoop's the
good
best.
teammate. He is such a good teammate. He is the best. Love
I
it.
wouldn't even know cattle existed if it wasn't for Hoops. Analysis on that
Watches
market.
what? 16 markets in a time or 20? I don't know.
It's
At least.
bananas.
Watches
I
all of
can't
them.
do it. Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it.
At least. Yeah, I might start trading it. It looks pretty fun. It's on the up and up.
We were fortunate because our family had a cattle sale last Saturday, the day after cattle went limit up. So we're jazzed.
Order filled.
Nice.
Jazzed up.
Jazzed up on the cattle sales.
Oh, so funny.
All
right, everybody. I'll see you guys later.
You're the best.
Bye, Anne Marie.
Feel free to log out and
Continue
enjoy
to
your
be the best.
Bye,
day.
everybody. Take care.
Enjoy your own bed in the
Bye.
States.
Welcome back.
Oh, I so miss my pillows.
Oh, yeah.
I did. All right, everybody. See you later.
Later, Anne Marie.
Bye-bye.
You've grabbed my attention and got me eager for more.
And Marie
I'm
is
excited.
back. Yep. And
have
just
Coach
found
Hoop.
out she's going to be a coach. That is cool.
That's awesome. That really is awesome.
It is awesome. We'll have Coach Hoop coming in momentarily, another one of our VIP coaches. We'll see what he's been up to. He can take us through some other markets that we maybe haven't covered today, which is always nice.
And he recently got his XFA.
Oh. Got his XFA. I'm going to talk to him about that. I mean, that's pretty awesome. I love seeing the coaches do well. Oh, look at one trade on right now. I believe it's Dakota is short gold. Looks like
In the
2 gold.
combine, I'm not trading my
combine.
live account right now. You can see
Got
I'm
it.
down 3,000. 3,300 for the week. But
Is that
I
your
am
personal
tracking
daily
gold.
on the live account?
I've stopped trading around 3,000 rather than 5. My statistics over the past, I had an amazing April in my live account. Excited about some live account benefits, that's for sure. But I had an amazing April. Decided to tighten up a little bit and start focusing on a few other things, and I think it shows. It's not too bad when my good days are, what is it, like 9 to 13,000 on positive days.
Sounds good.
And then my bad days are 3,000. Yesterday it was 300. So not too bad.
Hey, the math checks out. The math checks out. The reward is greater than the risk. Probably got a pretty good win. Has your win rate changed at all, Dakota? Is it still around like 30% or so?
Order filled.
It's still the same. Like my win percentage is 30%. Yeah, it's about 30%, plus or minus, depending on obviously the day. Funny thing is, I was having a conversation with my slow markets class, and they kept asking me, "What's my P&L for the year?" And I honestly had to tell them I don't know. It's shared live every day here on air, and I don't really know. I typically don't pay too much attention to the exact P&L unless it's like for the quarter for like the end of the year. At the end of the year, we're gonna find out. So if you're watching, tune in December.
Oh yeah, like a big reveal.
Are you short right now,
Big
Dakota?
reveal.
Yep.
He is.
I am short 2 on gold. Short 2 gold at 93.8.
It probably doesn't
kind of
help
an
checking
interesting
on your
gamma level in the ES. 56,
Yeah, equities are bidding.
55.
Equities are bidding. Trying to break the 5-minute range in both the ES and the NQ. Charts look damn near identical. I haven't even checked YM yet. What's YM doing?
Oh,
What's this game?
YM.
I don't know. Is that your second least favorite market? And RTY is the first?
I've never tried to trade RTY or the Dow. I mean, long term, the Dow and S&P 500 can basically are the same. I'd have to look to see. I presume the S&P has overperformed it a little bit, but on long time frames. But on short, it's very influenced by bizarre combinations of stocks because it's price weighted.
Yeah, I know. Well, like United Healthcare makes up like 20% of the Dow or something.
Not that much, but United and Goldman Sachs are the top weighted. Whereas in the other indices you trade, unless you're in RTY, obviously the biggest companies are going to have the most influence.
Yep. I always like you talking about Sherwin-Williams in the Dow, though.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sherwin-Williams, get that growth. The future is paint.
The future is paint. Amazing. Got Coach Hoop coming in momentarily. Markets will slow down a little bit. What do you got, Hogan?
Cover the earth. I think that's their tagline. Sherwin-Williams, cover the earth.
That's ominous.
Yeah, seriously.
Yep.
What if that was like Monsanto's tagline?
It is internally.
I'd be nervous.
Oh, who do we got? Apparently, we got Hoop at the door. I guess we just left the door open. Anne Marie. I don't know if Anne Marie closed the door on her way out. Hoop just walked right in here.
What's going on, guys?
There you are.
What is up, Hoop? How you doing? How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing good. Short of cattle. Short June cattle. Short cattle.
Wait, we're talking about how bullish it was. Now you're short cattle. What's going on?
The fader. It's like I'm the superhero, the fader.
Yeah, Darth Vader.
Yeah.
How's gold treating you, Hoop?
Really good overnight. So I'm about ready to lock her up. The last trade of my day will be when I play out of this one lot cattle that I have on. And I'm gonna lock her up this early before Fed meeting tomorrow. I'm up like $2,300. So I'm in a
wow.
So yeah.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Okay.
Nice.
We are.
I crossed over to dark side. I bought gold. So yeah.
Nice.
You're gonna teach me how to trade gold, right? Teach me how to buy it.
That one's it's a tough one. It is. It's
buy it at the open, Dakota.
That's why I switched to a combine, because it's like you want to have a non-bias gold, but you just can't. Jay was a good example last night. I mean, you were there, Hoop. Gold just went straight up.
Took off. Yeah.
It's like equities rally. Well, so's gold. Equities sell off. Well, gold's rallying.
Yeah. It's when the Asia market opens, and there's once again, I remember like Dakota, that was like maybe almost a year ago when you used to have that play, like was at the same time every night when gold would kick in and have, that move to the upside one way or the other.
It
was like
8 o'clock.
Remember that? I mean, that was like 6-8 months ago, and here we are. We just keep cooking. So
it's clockwork. It was clockwork. Right at 8 p.m., maybe plus or minus 5 minutes.
Yep.
There was a gold breakout, and for a period of time, it was just selling off, and not by a little bit. It was a dramatic amount, right? And then it kind of switched, and then all suddenly, it was breaking out to the long side. But essentially, it was just kind of I don't know if I want to say it's an opening range breakout, but it was just a breakout trade at a time, and then you can basically bracket the market, or look to buy a break to the upside or sell a breakdown, and it was absolutely amazing and paying really well. And it showed again last night. I haven't went back to it, but with this volatility and how gold's been acting, you guys could see this is why I'm in a combine. This is why I'm talking gold. This is why I'm trading gold, and I'm going to get back into gold as well.
Thank God for micros in that contract too, because it's it broke
great
30
market.
bucks when it made those new highs last night. It broke 30 bucks as fast as it
Big
got up
order
there.
in gold. Now that we're talking about it, there was 200 contracts at 98.6.
Oh, I see them, 98.60. We don't see that floating around that dome that much.
Is that very big
They don't
for
have
the gold?
Yeah,
Looks like it's
there's
big.
not even a 200 lot in the ES.
Wow.
There it goes. Just got filled, I think.
Right.
Yep.
Order filled. Traded out.
Filled.
Well, pretty much anything right now is more exciting than the indices, which have just gotten totally bracketed right now. I have no idea what it is. It was pretty active earlier, but now we're in like essentially a 60-point range in NQ. ES is in about a maybe 10, 11-point range. I'm not sure if Percent has the indices in the chokehold right now. Jack, you know how long they're talking for?
Could be a very long time. Like they'll take a
Oh,
lunch
boy.
break. That's what's tricky about airing those testimonies. Like certainly we'll do it if Powell is, but they tend to be less news driving because they're usually talking about something more specific, and both sides are just either they're either glazing or grandstanding, and the answers tend to be designed. It's not like tomorrow when we have the press conference where they'll ask Powell things that'll move the markets. These will tend to be sort of like guarded answers. Percent's a good he's got PR training, right? He's not going to say something that's going to go nuts. I mean, you saw even on the question about like who pays the tariffs. Dakota, who pays the tariffs? Like in the simplest terms.
Yeah, Dakota, who pays the tariffs? I'm reclaiming my time.
It depends. It depends, Dobie. It depends.
Yeah. So if you answer something like that with "it depends," I don't see much news coming out of that. But it was good to see our old friend Scotty.
Scotty Too Hotty.
Scotty.
Remember the wrestler? That's a good one. Shout out to Scotty Too Hotty. Yeah. Props. We got some stuff to cover. Let's see. I don't think we're doing that one yet. Done Trustpilot. Trustpilot, please give us 5 stars. You have some stats as well. Stats and payouts. Did you get 5 stars, Dakota, on your coaching? They give you 5 stars. You get a Trustpilot review.
I don't know. I don't see that data unless you guys tell me. Tell me what we got.
Chet, just give him a star ranking on how he did. Let's bring in JD. Do some stats. Our boy, a legend.
What's
There
up,
he is.
guys? We've got some payouts and P&Ls from yesterday. Here's yesterday's top 5 live funded P&Ls. We got Adrian trading gold. Took $23,169 out of the gold market yesterday. Big day for Adrian. Rake trades moving up on the big board. Another close to $9,000 for Rake trading the NQ. Askatback was also trading the NQ, $79.76 total in profits there. Aldean trading the ES, $6,243. And then Nato Trades rounds out the top 5 with $4,937 trading the Nasdaq yesterday. Big shout out to these live funded traders. Payouts, here they come. Decent payout numbers yesterday. Here they are. Paul K, $33,169. Way $29,559. Manpreet, $10,000. Chase, $7,200. And Auguten, $66.90. Hope I didn't butcher that name too much. But yeah, big numbers. Real traders taking real money out of the real live markets yesterday. Nice job to all these live funded traders here at TopStep.
That's awesome. JD, thank you for popping in. The market's still not doing a whole lot. Gold is on the up and up, now over $3,400 an ounce.
We got some resistance here in the ES in the 5650s. Could be at the top of the range. There's a gamma level there too. Once again, cheap short. Either play the breakout or the reversion. I could be keeping an eye on that.
Yeah, we do have FOMC tomorrow as well. So lots of let's say currents, a lot of cross currents going on. That's the word I'm looking for. Cross currents.
Dakota, you out of that short and gold?
No, I'm still in it. My CYA is at 09.8.
72% long in gold right now. 66 in the money. Average price 33.95.86.
Man, last night was crazy to see 85% long crude oil.
I mean, a sample size.
Yeah.
What do you think the sample size was? Who's trading crude oil?
Yeah, how many traders is
Five
that tonight?
Like five traders.
We're all long.
5 traders. or I don't know.
5 oil men.
That's right.
They were all 100% in the money, so you can't argue that.
8.5 out of 10 of them were long.
That's right. Chat, if you were trading crude oil last night, out yourself. We want to know. We want to know who you are.
You know, Dakota, last week we were in the lower 90s in the longs in the crude.
Yeah.
We hit 92, 93. Yeah.
Was that during the day? During the New York session?
Yeah.
As a reminder for tomorrow, 97% implied probability that there will be no cut. And I guess 3% of people who think something effing crazy is going to happen tonight because, he's not going to cut. Going out to December, we're still looking at 1, 2, 3, looking for between 3 and 4 quarter point cuts. So between 0.75 and 1% in cuts from the Fed by December 10th. Mark your calendars. That'll be the last Fed meeting of the year.
Okay. That's good to know. So December
I wonder what
7th?
the Q&A is going to be. Q&A is going to be
December 10th.
10th. Right.
Will we have $30 or will we have $2? Stick around for the next couple hundred days and we'll find out.
I love that. Kids do not need 30 different dolls, Jack. How many dolls, or actually action figures, are in your house right now?
Do they count as dolls like action figures? If you count
does G.I. Joe count? G.I. Joe, does that count?
I heard a story a while ago
yeah.
that dolls and action figures are like tariffed differently, and so they had to like recategorize one to be the other, whichever was like cheaper. It was like some like business class case study. I'm sure someone in chat knows the actual details, but it was pretty interesting. So I don't know. That's why I was saying like dolls versus action figures are technically different. Oh, sorry.
What my house is filled with is cars, specifically cars based on characters from the movie Cars. Got
all right.
Lightning McQueen, Doc, Chick Hicks. Who else?
Mater.
Cruz Ramirez, Jackson
Mater,
Storm,
yeah.
Mater. Gotta have
Go
Mater.
That was the toys that you played with?
Yep. Big Lego guy.
Get her done.
There's Mater.
Mine was sticks and rocks in the backyard.
Arthur knows Mater's Tall Tales. I've seen all
Rocks
those
and sticks,
cartoons.
man.
Radiator Springs
Yeah.
500.
The most fun I've had was, you guys would get a laugh out of this one. We'd go around the neighborhood and would collect used or empty cans, like aluminum cans, fill them up with dirt, and have a demolition derby. We'd pretend that they're cars.
Dakota grew up in
You
a
didn't have
dome, like the Truman Show. I don't know if we've ever talked about that before. He didn't see the real world until he was 26, but
yeah.
I still have scars. Because the pop cans would come open, and I have an older brother, and he wouldn't hold back. So sometimes the pop cans would, split open, and then the aluminum would cut.
How do you have
open.
You didn't have a
Like
big wheel?
smash up derby with cans.
No. Yeah, demolition derby with cans, and the can is out when all the dirt comes out.
Oh.
Yeah, that's.
You put wheels on the cans? You just like drag them around?
No, man, no.
Didn't have wheels back
Sounds
then?
like it was a cage match.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, just watch out for fingers. Like it was not.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Advised for
Yeah.
kids and their fingers.
Well, at least you got
James
spots.
here.
One can leaves.
James thought you were filling these cans with rocks and dirt and chucking them at passing cars.
No.
Yeah,
Hey,
Dakota has a
oh.
warrant out from 20 years ago.
Stop.
Yeah.
Do we play the breakout short here or long? Like there's been rock solid like on the 5-minute support at like 56, 40, 41. Trending to the lower side of this very tight range we've been in the ES since 9:30.
Gold went vertical.
The
Well, yeah,
range.
gold is. Hey, Coop, you see gold yesterday into close? Holy crap! Thing bid like.
That's
30,
a great.
40
That's
bucks.
a great question, and I would ask. You got a couple veterans and some newer traders here. Globex, Europe. Now, Hogue, I know from a profile perspective, Dalton doesn't consider any of that in a lot of his analysis. How do we discount as what's going on, like what you were talking about right there, Dolby? I mean, gold went vertical, rallied $12 because it's quote closed. Do we ignore it? I just think this is a cycle that we're coming to 24-hour markets, guys. We've had this time in trading where crude closes at 11:30, gold closes at this time, this closes. It just feels to me that this market seems to like when the New York session closes. Dakota, you talked about it. We had those massive moves after like an earnings. So I used to be one of those guys too that said, Globex, Eurex, it's a different market than the day. I'm coming off of that bandwagon because, to be honest with you, the Globex and the Euro session has tended to be a better trade. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah. I was actually, I sent a message to the risk team. Because, like I said, I don't pay too much attention to my overall statistics of my live account until I review and I analyze it. I just sent a message. I said, hey, let's get together and let's see how my live account is Asian session during slow markets versus the New York session. Because that exact thing, Coach Hoop, it seems like, and everyone who watches my slow markets, it's just profitable. I've been making money. It feels like almost every single night during my slow markets class for the most part. But then I've been giving quite a bit back. And today's a good example, right? I was up $1,600 from a trade last night. It was, I don't want to say the word easy, but it was a lot more predictable, consistent. And then I just gave back, more than that here during this. And so I'm done trading my live account. I don't mind a $3,000 loss. But yeah, that's a good point because same with Aaron Trades, who does the London Open on TopStep, and then D. There's some very nice, consistent moves overnight.
Yep.
That is some very, very good advice. Some people in chat are also agreeing with you. I do want to bring in Gabe for some news and announcements. Gabe, if you are back there, we are ready.
You mean Eddie Dolby, right?
Oh. Yes.
Yes, it is I. It is me. Yes, I got some announcements. Gather around, kids. FOMC Watch party tomorrow. Yes, we're going to turn this into a party. BYOB, by the way, be here at 1 p.m. Central Time tomorrow for our FOMC Party Watch. We're going to be streaming Uncle Paul's remarks and the Q&A live. Coach Dakota, David Green, Coach Jay will be here to break it all down for you. So 1 o'clock tomorrow, be here. If you want, bring a dish, but BYOB. Also, Trustpilot. If you like what we're doing here and you want to let us know, we really appreciate it. If you head over to Trustpilot and leave us a review, we appreciate your feedback so we can serving up the best in tradertainment. And we're going to put that link here in the chat for our Trustpilot. If you got a minute, we'd appreciate it. And that's what I've got so far. 1 p.m. tomorrow, FOMC Watch Party and our Trustpilot. Back to you. What do we got, Dolby Time?
Thank you, Eddie. Look at that. 4.6 rating. Over 5,000 reviews. That is awesome.
It's a beautiful thing, you know? Beautiful.
All legit, too. I would know, because I was on the Trustpilot team when I was on media. And I gotta say.
Were you really?
We're not forcing people to give 5-star reviews when they take a payout?
No. We were not doing that. I gotta say, there was some
another company, right?
real
Good idea, though.
Is that real?
I
It's
mean,
like you
Oh, yeah.
give a 5-star review.
Oh, that's something
or
that
else you
happened.
don't-
Not by us.
Not here. Not here, though.
You have
Oh,
no
okay.
idea.
Don't bash us and you're
No.
not getting your money.
That's insanity. You're denied unless you give me a review.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yep. Gotta,
It's like
gotta
ordering a
double check.
burrito,
All right.
holding it hostage.
Yes.
We broke through that range in the ES.
Yeah. ESNQ is finally
There it
cooking now.
is.
We just had to talk Trustpilot. It's like anything but Trustpilot conversation. All right. Here we go. Broke out the 5-minute range, bid into the upside, along with NQ, ES, gold, all on the green. CL is kind of just chilling out right now. Kind of chilling out. Anyone in a trade right now other than Dakota? Anyone liking
Crude's
anything?
up 4%.
Yeah, chat's happy. Finally
Thinking
got some
about a
action
short
there.
here in gold.
Nope, just short a
Don't
cattle.
do it, Hogue.
Don't do
Don't do it.
Did you say don't do it? I know, right?
I know, just don't do it. Don't short gold.
You want to get smacked in the face, just short it. Yeah.
I know, right?
Right. It's just, it's, trust me, I'm looking at the same thing over. I'm like, don't, my intuition says, don't do it. Don't do it.
We need the Beretta
Maybe I'll
theme
see
song
if
to
it
be
breaks
playing
out the
as you're
top and go
trading.
long.
Ay.
See if we get some range extension and go long.
Man,
You're
Crude's
still
up
short, right,
4%
Dakota?
today.
Oh, we do have Euro
I
Plus
know I'm
now.
flat now. I closed it out. It's just I'm gonna figure gold out. Oop. Whether it's tonight or the night session or the New York session.
I know, I'll tell you, and once again, I know it's coming in TopStepX, but range charts help me a ton with that market because it does not consolidate a lot. It just, you've heard Jay talk about it. I know when you're on with him, like it literally will make, new highs and then break $8. It doesn't consolidate a lot. So you just have to kind of watch your swings. It's just, I've had better luck with range charts with it a little bit myself. So
we're short 2 micro gold, 34.05 even.
You can limit the risk. I do like that, Yeah. There it is, a new high. And then, I get you.
So let's see.
Right, let's go.
Hey, we got
We're just going to risk a new high.
Let's go.
London close in 5 minutes, kids.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's another one.
London is back in action. They were out of action yesterday, but now they're back.
When you line up, get your ice cream.
Do we get ice cream now?
In 5 minutes, you will. Yes, you will.
Come on,
line up.
Patrick.
No file, no pushing, no shoving.
Eddie, what's your
AKA
favorite?
Aprius is
Cheap
blowing
short.
accounts
That's
on a
the only
daily
reason we're in this.
Oh,
Just a cheap short.
okay. Hoag's in a cheap short. Dakota, what'd you have?
No, I was just saying that if you're blowing counts on a daily basis, size down, please. Size down. You have too big of a daily loss limit.
Hey, especially now you got micros too. Additionally, you don't want to take that behavior into the XFA or a live account. I mean, really, you should be doing everything that you want to do in the live account, you should be doing in the trading combine. And if you're
In
not
process.
practicing, it's the exact same process. If you're not practicing in the trading combine, you're going to do terrible in the XFA and the live account. Because your mind is too focused on making money, not enough on the process. I feel like Dakota, you have said that before. Is that process over profits, I believe?
Yeah. Yes, Toby. That's correct.
Hey, we got
That is
some
correct.
comments here from Trump. I know that
Okay.
he was talking to Carney up north. He did say that why is America subsidizing Canada by $200 billion a year, in addition to giving them free military protection and many other things. Also, he did say we don't need their cars, we don't need their energy, we don't need their lumber. We don't need anything they have but their friendship, which hopefully we will always maintain. This off the wire here. I just want to share that with the community here. So back to you guys. I'm watching the wire here. Anything else, I will jump in.
Thank you. Just wants to be friends. Just wants to be friends.
I agree. We probably don't need Canadian cars.
Do they even make cars?
They have factories, but is there? Let me know. Is there a Canadian car brand?
I don't know. We have to talk to James Dobson, our Canadian reporter.
I mean, Labatt's isn't making cars.
Yeah.
That'd be a bad product crossover.
I'll keep you guys abreast of what's going on with this trade, but I got to step away to get ready to prep for the recap here in about half an hour.
Ooh.
Don't they make Zambonis? I used to own a Zamboni when I was a
They might.
teenager. Took me about 5 hours
You
to get
owned
to
a
school.
Zamboni?
Yeah, take a long time to drive to school though. Yeah, wintertime you'd maybe cut off about a half an hour, but summertime it sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a bunch